You clicked on this video because you dream of being your own boss, making more money, and living life on your own terms. But the truth is, 90% of businesses fail, mostly because entrepreneurs don't really know what they're doing. But I got you covered because in this video, I'm going to share with you the only 10 steps you need to become the successful entrepreneur you've always wanted to be. Before we can look into the exact steps to create a successful business, we have to build and fortify something so critical to your success in a changing world: an entrepreneurial mindset. But don't worry, because this mindset can be created and nurtured through the first 5 steps I'm going to share with you. Now, this first step you already started just by clicking on my video. It's called being inspired. Now, you could become inspired from anything. Maybe an Instagram reel you saw told you about the Sigma grind set you need to follow to become very successful. Maybe you watched something like my video and you started looking into the steps you needed to take to really become an entrepreneur. No matter what it is, you did the critical part of this first step. You actually took action by clicking on my video and watching it all the way through. Now, inspiration can come from many different sources, but all that really matters is it's actually something you're passionate about and it aligns with your future goals. Now, because you're actually passionate, the work is not going to feel as challenging. So you're going to be able to dive deeper and focus for longer than you were before with other stuff. Now, the reason I bring passion up is because it is a key driving factor in any great business. If you're just entering a business looking at how much money you can make, you're going to constantly fall behind someone who is truly passionate and really grinding towards what their dreams are. Not only that, when you first start being an entrepreneur, most of the time you're going to be hurting for cash. You're going to be struggling because you're going to have to take out money to start a drop shipping store or start your own bakery. You're going to actually be in the negative to begin with. And that's totally okay. It's part of the process of building a successful business, is putting that upfront money there and taking that risk on. And we're going to touch on risk actually later in this video as well. Now, monetization has a lot to do with the specific skills you can offer other people, and that can be a very complex process to learn. But there's one thing that is definitely true: it's going to take a lot of failure to get where you want to be. This is going to move right into the next step you need to further build your mindset: growth and development. Now, it is inevitable that challenges are going to come, whether it's you building skills, first starting out your business, trying to get more customers. You're always going to have new challenges presenting themselves as you're working through your business. But you have to focus on what you can control and always be willing to shift your mindset somewhere else. Now, I started this video by saying 90% of businesses will fail because entrepreneurs don't really know what they're doing. Now, that may seem like I'm trying to talk you down or give you a negative mindset, but it's just the honest truth. Now, when you're entering any new business venture, you need to truly believe that that business is going to succeed because of you, not because of the idea, not because of the resources you have available. You need to believe that you could take any business and just make it succeed. And the only way you can do that is by building a more positive self-image. If you're self-conscious about the way you look, start getting in the gym, start boosting yourself, hang out with more people. These are all things that seem irrelevant, but are very connected to the overall success of your business. And to touch back on the challenges I mentioned earlier, you need to have what's called a growth mindset. Whenever a challenge comes, you need to look at it as an opportunity to grow. You can't look at it as a setback. You have to find ways to turn those setbacks into big wins and big comebacks for your business and for yourself. You could do this by having small, achievable goals that you consistently hit, whether that be get 5 customers a month or whether that be make $100 in a year. Now, not only do you need small, achievable goals for your business, you need goals to build your confidence and skills as an entrepreneur. That's why step 3 is going to be building your core entrepreneur skills. So I'm going to touch on a few different ones and exactly how you can build them. But before, I think it's important that we touch on exactly why entrepreneur skills are even important. You've probably heard the phrase, "I think, therefore I am." And nowhere is this more true than building yourself as an entrepreneur. Before you can truly become a creative person or an analytical thinker, you need to truly believe that you're even capable of doing it. During my time in school and any creative venture I ever wanted to pursue, I was constantly told, "You're bad at art," which kind of put me in this bubble of I'm not a creative person. I can't think creatively. But I didn't notice that I was doing naturally creative things, even though it may have not shown up originally. I always thought of myself as a very analytical thinker, which I am, but I had to open my lens and look at things from a wider point of view. So if you don't find yourself being a creative person, maybe you just haven't looked in the right places. Now, while some people may be naturally better at the thing you're trying to improve at, constant repetition is always going to overcome natural talent. You constantly hear about people failing their first, second, even their third business, but then succeeding their 4th, 5th, and so on time doing it. And that is because every failure teaches you something you didn't know about yourself. You're going to look at problems differently. You're going to look at where you're at in life differently. Another thing that could help you along your journey, and is actually our step 4, is going to be embracing feedback of other people. Now, I'm going to start this off with a quote I'm pretty sure you've heard before. It takes a village. And this is true no matter what you're trying to achieve. Having strong people around you to support you and give their input and criticize you is so important when it comes to developing yourself past what you think is possible. Your perspective naturally naturally includes biases, both good and bad. You may think you're way better at something and you're worse at it. And you may think you're worse at something, but you actually do it amazing. And other people will actually give you a true judgment as long as you're open and honest with them and receptive of what they want to tell you. Now, I have a support network I trust that reviews everything from the idea generation processes I'm using to my video titles to my video thumbnails. And every single person gives a completely different input, and you'd be so shocked to see what works for some people and doesn't for others. Of course, you can't depend on other people to tell you exactly what steps to create your own business you want or, live the dream life you want, but that's what I'm here for. Jokes aside, there's only one person that can really tell you what the next step should truly be, and that person is you. So step 5 is actually self-reflection. You're never truly going to become the entrepreneur you want to be if you're not consciously thinking about ways to apply these tips to your daily life. Along your journey, you're going to have a lot of self-doubt. You're going to ask yourself, am I taking the right steps? Am I truly doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And you have to truly believe in yourself to think that you're on the right path. Now, the best way I've found to handle this is to actually look internally and figure out your progress outside of the numbers. If you're just looking at statistics as a measurement of your success, you're going to be doomed to fail. Now, no matter what type of business you're pursuing, there's going to be a lot of times you're going to fail and you're going to plateau, or you're not going to get the amount of success you really want. Now, what you should do is look internally and figure out exactly how you progressed as an individual. Did you become more creative? Did you think outside the box more than you would have before? Did you work harder than you ever have? These are all questions you need to ask yourself to figure out, are you progressing as a person? Then you look towards the business. You ask yourself, what is my main goal with a future business? What drives me to wake up every single morning? Is this going to be sustainable, and am I truly passionate? Now that you can answer those questions about yourself and the pursuit of your business, I think it's finally time we step into actually how to create a successful business. Step 1 to any successful business is finding a problem in your community that needs to be solved. So you need to think problem before product. People in today's world have gone overly reliant on the newest and the greatest. That's why you see Apple putting out a new phone every year. You have to look outside of that, because mega corporations can get away with doing that because people are going to buy their products even if it's a new button on the side of the camera. It does not matter. But for you, being a small business, you have to find ways to innovate and create solutions that maybe people didn't think about before. You can find a problem that has already been solved and just do it better or cheaper, or just fill in the blank with any good outcome you want. Oftentimes, people and companies will accept lousy solutions because they become comfortable with a certain way of doing things, but usually this will lead to a company overtaking them and just completely making the first company irrelevant. Toys R Us is a great example of this because they did not want to innovate, they did not want to get online with their products, and they eventually got overtaken by Amazon, and now they're, I believe, completely out of business, but they may have a few stores left. Now you know how to find problems that need to be solved, but how do you know if actually creating a solution is worth it? Well, this is where market research comes into play. Market research is all about diving deep into a specific niche or industry and researching every little thing you can possibly find. Now, the first thing you should do is look at companies who provide a similar solution that you want to do. You look at their profit margins, you look at their revenue, you look at their marketing, and figure out if you can do those similar things just on a smaller scale. This would be crucial because if you can't find growth potential in a specific industry, it might not be worth it for you to solve that problem and, put a lot of time, effort, and money into that solution. But market research can easily be just as discouraging because sometimes companies like Amazon started as a bookstore and now they appeal to everyone. So they definitely reap the benefits of that, but you do not have to do that. If we take a look at Nike, for instance, they started out just making shoes specifically for long distance runners. Now, the idea came to the founders because both of them were avid runners, and they noticed that their shoes didn't have enough cushioning or support to sustain their level of running and how many miles they were putting in. And that solution was extremely successful, and a lot of long distance runners started adapting their shoes. Now, I'm sure when they first started out just creating these shoes for long distance runners, they did not project themselves or even think they would ever be the mega corporation they are right now. The main thing they did was saying yes. They said yes to work on tennis shoes. They said yes to work with Michael Jordan and make basketball shoes. They said yes to work with, various soccer players and make the best soccer cleats in the world. So even though they started out niche, by saying yes, they became very broad. Nike had a lot of growth potential, which leads right into my next point. Step 3 is making sure your business is very scalable, because at a fundamental layer, your business needs to be scalable. Whether you're selling software, products, or shoes, you need to make sure that you can continuously generate more revenue over time. So when developing your solution, you need to make sure you check 3 boxes. 1, you need to identify your repetitive processes and find a way to automate them. So if you're offering web design services for other businesses, maybe you make a few templates that you can use to provide, samples for them, or even full finished designs. Step 2 is building a very strong team. You're going to really struggle as a business if you don't have people around you you can trust are going to do great work and work as hard as you are. But on the contrary, you also need to be a good teammate and be receptive to their ideas and continuously work as hard as they're pushing themselves. Lastly, you need to constantly be tracking the money you spend versus the money you make. You need to find out how much it costs costs you to obtain a customer. So look at your marketing and look at your ad spend. You need to figure out the cost of goods sold, how much you're spending to really create what you're offering. And you need to figure out a good price that can reach a lot of people, but still turn you a good profit. If you set those three in place, you're going to have a good foundation to continue scaling your business, but that's not going to be enough on its own. No matter how good your foundation is, no matter how good your idea is, your solution is, your game plan is, it does not matter if you're not willing to take risks. This is going to lead into step 4, which is actually taking risks. The entire backbone of being an entrepreneur is built on risk. You risk your time, you risk your money. There's a lot of opportunity cost with everything you're doing. You could be applying more effort into your 9-to-5 job and getting a promotion, or applying more effort into school and getting a better degree, but you sacrifice it all in the hopes of building something that's completely not guaranteed. Everything about being an entrepreneur is what you're willing to sacrifice to achieve these goals you have for yourself. Now, when taking risks inside of your business, it's going to function very similarly. You may chase an opportunity for expansion at the cost of your focus on something else that really needs your attention, but sometimes that expansion can be more important than what you were previously pursuing. This could lead to unexpected growth, just like it did with Nike, and give you opportunities that you thought you would originally fail at. And that is why putting yourself in uncomfortable situations is so crucial to your success as a business owner. It's going to force you to step outside your comfort zone and learn how to think on your feet and outside the box. And as you keep chasing the hard things, they're just going to keep progressively getting easier for you and your company. Not only do the hard things get easier with time, everything about being an entrepreneur does as you get more experience. So this is the final step you need to be an entrepreneur. Step 5 is repeat, repeat, and revise. Albert Einstein says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Now, this is especially true when it comes to building companies, because after you get through your first company, it may fail, your second may fail, your third may fail. But if you just keep doing the same thing every single time, you're going to continuously fail. And I have no doubt about that. But if you repeat, try it twice, and then revise your solution. Figure out something new that you didn't do before. Even though the processes of starting a business become easier over time, being an entrepreneur is never easy. It's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be things thrown in your face or other opportunities you could do that are easier. So if you aren't chasing after your goals with 100% tenacity, it might just be time for you to give up. It's up to you to figure out what you want in life and dedicate yourself and have the discipline to stick with the goals you set out for yourself. Even after you have that successful business, there's still going to be struggles that come up in your life and in your company. Do you know how to manage your own personal finances? Do you know how to avoid wealth-killing traps? This is a whole nother battle by itself. But don't worry, just go watch my last video because I covered every mistake you need to avoid while building your wealth.